You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible.
Dr. Carr, I want to go to you. You, of course, you teach at Howard University. And so just from your perspective, how critically important it is when we see these debates take place at Ohio State and these other universities, to have it take place at a HBCU, how important is that?
It's of critical importance, particularly this election, Roland. I mean, we talked about it last week when you laid out some of the major agenda items that should be discussed tonight. Hopefully they will be. And then talking to Representative Jackson Lee. Tonight, they're all on the same stage for the first time as the top-tier candidates. We're going to see what Elizabeth Warren does with Joe Biden and everybody else for that matter. But most importantly for our community, we should be tuned in to hear the kind of information we're going to need to make a critical decision. And having it at Texas Southern, the place that came into existence as a result of Sweat versus Painter, as you led through us, and a place that has been a source and a resource for black struggle and the education of our people for quite some time. There's no more important place to be.
And in fact, Scott Bolden, this university was born out of segregation. Heman Sweat wanted to go to the University of Texas at Austin. They did not allow him to do so because of segregation, and so therefore they created the law school here at Texas Southern University. Barbara Jordan wanted to go to the University of Texas, could not go because of segregation. She had to come here to Texas Southern University, and so here we are in 2019. Talking about obviously these Democrats being here, and we're talking about a university that was born out of segregation that to this day is still, of course, educating predominantly African American students, but also white Latino students as well.
Well, if there's another public interest law school or one where graduates a great number of African American lawyers, other than Howard University School of Law, it would be Texas Southern. They compete for students in the best and brightest of minds. I tell you, the symbolism of being at Texas Southern University and the law school, Roland, is really rooted in what this debate is going to be about. I want to hear the candidates talk about race, racism, and the law, about gun control and stopping gun violence. I want to hear them talk about an urban agenda, if you will. There's no better place to do that. And while I know the media will control the questions and ABC and what have you, we've got to talk about these issues, because any candidate I vote for or Black America votes for, we need to hear those issues, and the candidates need to connect with us on those issues so we know what to expect after 2020 when they beat Donald Trump.
Erica, when you talk about, again, this debate and the issues, we also talk about this is the first time we're going to have the top candidates on stage at one time. I believe that this is a huge night, a critical night for Senator Kamala Harris. She's the only person on this stage who's an HBCU graduate. In some ways, you're talking about this is home territory, but also throwing the reality that Senator Elizabeth Warren, she graduated from the University of Houston, just 2 blocks away. Castro from Texas, Beto O'Rourke from Texas. But I dare say, out of all the folks on stage, she's had a tough last month. She's going to have to come out on fire. There's been questions about her health care plan. She dropped her criminal justice reform plan on Monday. The person who I think has to score well tonight to put her campaign back on track is Senator Kamala Harris. Your thoughts?
My thoughts surrounding that is that Kamala Harris has definitely lent her voice in this political conversation. However, she just did a podcast interview with Angela Rye recently, which was about an hour long, where she went over some of those very things that you laid out. So I'd like to kind of just take a time. We're actually, this is the week of the annual legislative conference by the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. And so during this time, we've got a gathering of a host of people, politicos, and things of that nature. Bringing that to the point where this is now the time, we're entering the season where we're going to start looking at who's in the field and who needs to go ahead and kind of bow out of the field. And so during the summer, all of those different debates that we had, they were kind of priming us to this moment. Voters are now paying attention because we're about 13, 12 months out from next year. And so I think with Kamala Harris, those same stakes apply to all of the candidates. Going back to the AOC, the Black Women's Roundtable rolled out a poll by Dr. Avis Jones-Weaver and Melanie Campbell and all of them. And in that poll, it showed that amongst millennial women and just Black folks in general that we're largely still undecided. So while you lay that out about Kamala, I hear what you're saying, but I think that pressure is applied to all of those candidates that are in the field, because we're going to have to start dwindling it down.
But Greg, here's why I'm specifically talking about Senator Harris. Because if you look at the polling data right now, in essence, there are two tiers that are happening. A top tier, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. Then there's a second tier, and that is Senator Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, and then there's a third tier, and that is Beto O'Rourke, Cory Booker, Julian Castro, and the rest of the candidates. And so if you're Harris, what you don't want to do is you don't want to be in the position where, frankly, those top three are getting further away from you. She had a spike after the first debate, did not do well after the second debate. I'm just saying that in terms of her candidacy, and I would also say Pete Buttigieg, what you don't want is for those top three to solidify themselves going into October when really this thing is about to pick up.
I agree with you, Roland. Let's be clear. The way it's looking now, Joe Biden has topped out. He's not going to grow any base. If anything, he's just trying to maintain whatever he can to get to the nomination.
Got a double-digit lead.
No, brother, but he
ain't got to top out.
He can't grow anymore. Elizabeth Warren has all the momentum. No, she and Bernie Sanders are fighting for...
When the rest of the candidates get out, Biden's going to grow. What are you talking about, Professor?
Joe Biden is topped out. He's fairly lifeless, and anybody is going to beat Trump. But Joe Biden can't grow his base. Now, but let me just...
It's going to grow when those Democratic candidates get out of the race. I guarantee you.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
Time will tell, brother. Let's put it this way. Elizabeth Warren has a lot of the momentum, but she's got to make inroads in Black communities. Now, she spent a lot of time, including time at HBCUs like Morgan State. And the more people hear her, the more her momentum is building. Bernie Sanders, of course, in that top tier, the third candidate in the top tier, seems to be fighting for the same candidates that Elizabeth Warren has. But, of course, he's got problems not really being in the Democratic Party. He's got a lot of young people and millennials and more people, non-whites around him, particularly young women who are in his campaign. But even that might be, he may have plateaued as well.
But he's not growing either.
No, he's not growing either.
He's not growing. He's staying right where he is.
Now, we said this when all these candidates first announced, Roland, on your show. In many ways, people in that second and third tier may be auditioning for the vice president slot. Now, let's be clear. If Kamala Harris is going to make a move, you are absolutely right. Tonight is the night she has to make a move. She doesn't have the Black vote. Barack Obama exhausted the vote for me because I'm Black crowd. Now she and Cory Booker are going to have to do something more than show up and be Black. And between Howard and Texas Southern, there's a class distinction as well. Yes, she went to HBCU, but it wasn't a public HBCU.
Don't start now.
Brother,
don't start now.
I went to Tennessee State.
I went to Howard Law School and Morehouse College. Don't start pitting us against one another now.
What I'm saying is that what we
bottom
read...
line,
you teaching at Howard.
Kamala Harris has not made the case to the Black community that she needs, particularly to get away from Joe Biden.
She can't outrun Barack Obama's legacy, and that's Cory's problem and her problem.
Gentlemen, but here's the deal. First of all, Obama has nothing to do with them running. The point is this here: they can't run the same way Obama ran. Just breathe. Breathe, Scott. The bottom line is this here. It's not just Biden and Obama. It's also African Americans want Trump out. And there are Black voters and white voters who believe that Joe Biden, not just because he served 8 years with Obama, but also those 36 years in the United States Senate, is that he has the stature and to appeal to those disaffected, rural, working class white voters. But again, this debate's tonight. This thing really starts September 15th, and so October 1. I think people will begin to drop out. We'll see what happens tonight.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, you heard me talk a lot about marijuanastock.org. Why? Because I want to keep you informed of investment opportunities that make sense. We've all watched the growth of the cannabis industry. A recent report by New Frontier Data estimates the global cannabis market at more than $340 billion. course, marijuana legalization is sweeping the country state by state. We know that marijuana has a good cousin, the hemp plant, with a much higher concentration of CBD. That means hemp gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the U.S. and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, the 2018 Farm Bill recently passed in Congress, making it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S. and creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. They need land to grow all of the plants. Folks, this is simple. It's an incredible investment opportunity. And that's where our good friends at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed, high-paying tenants. They are hemp CBD landlords, and you can get in on the action. Now, what they've done for the folks at Roland Martin Unfiltered is allow for you to make a minimum investment of $200. The initial investment was $500. You can invest this in the crowdfunding campaign. That's right, $200 up to $10,000. Now, again, all you got to do is go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org to get in the game, and get in the game now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.